So the Tailwalk Baymixx SSD range of rods is quite an interesting one. They sort of sit in between so many others that, like many of the rods actually, the more specialist Japanese rods, I've been a little bit reluctant and slow initially to start bringing them into the UK. They, not LRF rods, not bass rods or anything like that, but to be honest, with the way things have been changing, especially with our bass fishing most recently, lighter rods are becoming far more popular again, and I think people are kind of getting to the point where they want to have some more fun, and that's exactly where the Baymixx comes into its own. They're designed as rods that are for fishing either plastics or metals or tiny plugs even as well, for sort of small blue water species or little jacks and stuff like that around the Japanese waters. So they do have some power to them, but there's also, they're not your typical bass rod as we would typically see it. They have very short handles, which is just a general feature of the range. They're not all quite as short as this one, being the 69 ml, but they are short grips. The reason for that is that when you have got a shorter rod, the longest rod in the range is only 7'6", but when you've got a shorter rod, it's not all about casting distance, so you don't necessarily need or want a length of handle that would match a bass rod, for example. Because they're designed more for sort of flicking into close areas and just working little light lures around, in so many respects you don't need a long handle, and they balance amazingly well without it. So it just makes the whole thing much more maneuverable to fish within either tight areas or just have some fun with. So for us, the range as a whole, like I say, going up to a maximum of 7'6", a rod that's technically rated at 40 grams, and then they come all the way down to sort of 6'9" and below, where the maximum rating on the longest rod is 40 grams. A feature of the range throughout that you've always got to be a bit careful with when you're considering buying these, and where it kind of makes them better actually for it, but the ratings are a bit overgunned if you ask me. So I would never fish 40 grams, I don't think, on the 40 gram rod. So you've got to kind of take a few off each of them. You're welcome to ask us, obviously send us any messages or questions, but consider them lighter than the ratings are. That means, for example, that the likes of the 7'6", 40 grammer becomes actually quite a nice light all-round bass rod. You could consider it probably more of a 30 grammer, just as an example. So that coming through the range, an amazing range of rods for all types of light bass work, all wrasse, inshore boat as well. Some of the team guys have had great fun with some of the models. I think they're designed for fun. So if you're after a lighter rod and do want a little bit of fun with it, then give the Baymixx a go.